Alright, now we go to Captain Slag's fleet.
Of course the final confrontation is on Mustafar.
Well, it's more of a case of the fleet is, suspended in the middle, as you can see, of an asteroid field. It's just that the red
Ratchet,
tint
the
is just a
situation is
thing.
getting dire. I am sending a transmission to Kronk's comm unit requesting assistance.
Fine, but I'm not waiting around. We need to get that Dimensionator before Slag can cause any
Also,
more trouble.
hi, Space Whale.
They're just there in the background. I don't remember if you do get a skill point if you hit one of those.
Well done, contributing to the whaling factor. Here's your money.
Well, at the very least, I'm glad that for the time for a while now, the smuggler kind of stopped appearing. So there's that. We will see. He will be one of the more recurring characters for the entire future saga. So we will be seeing him up until Nexus, I think. So look forward to him, I guess. But yeah, since now we're basically approaching kinda sorta endgame territory, this is where the enemies start becoming more ruthless.
And Dogpile, yeah.
Also, more mini bosses. Again, thankfully this particular mini weapon is a godsend, as you can see. Although it compensates by having limited ammo and costing. Yeah, I was a bit confused because I was getting from I not knew where the pirate doorkeeper was, but there it is. There you go.
Hopefully he won't find it too suspicious that there's a lone survivor after all the carnage we just did.
You wouldn't download a spaceship, huh? You know, it's surprising that despite having the proper robot space pirates, they did not really have much of a joke, any kind of joke about digital piracy going on. Was practically was already a thing at this point, so I wonder. Ow. Yeah, the turrets are kind of a pain in the ass, as you can see. But you usually tend to get around them by either chucking a grenade or using the Groovytron, which usually makes them stop just enough so you can actually beat them.
Also,
yes.
I know that they did it to make it convenient for the players, but if I'm to nitpick a bit, whenever they sing to your left or to your right, if they're saying it to Ratchet, technically it should be the one to our left saying to his right and vice versa.
Maybe they're actually saying that to the door, instead, which is what the perspective that we see of.
That would be cute. Yeah, also maybe go for that fourth wall effect.
Possibly.
Who knows?
But again, which I kind of get what you mean. At the very least, I appreciate they did not bring back the Saki cannon for this. Again, I know it has its
that would have been.
I know it has its fans, but I'm sorry, I just cannot even. Alright, another one of these guys. Again, the one thing that you definitely notice is that, much like with most games that had the generational leap, not all of them, but most of them, the first game that gets to be done doesn't have that much in terms of boss fights, and only has like a couple, maybe, of mini bosses that gets repeated for the sake of, having more content, basically. Again, nothing technically wrong in itself, but it is relatively noticeable. Not all of them, had this kind of problem. I can tell you that, again, despite the passage from SD to HD, God of War 3, the Greek saga God of War 3, did manage to actually maintain a level of escalation that the second game had by still having plenty of different bosses, each of them with a different appearance and pattern. So I had to applaud Santa Monica for managing to stick around on that, despite the fact that the God of War 3 also did add its own trouble development cycle. I think Cory Balrog was supposed to properly direct it, but eventually folded in into the guy that eventually directed Spider-Man Edge of Time. I forgot his name.
Interesting.
Captain Slag is here somewhere, Ratchet. We must keep going.
Maybe we should follow the smell of stale grog.
I still have a soft spot for 3, despite, feeling very depressing in its themes, but it's still a fun ride overall, because the gameplay is just that, kind of fun as an hack and slash. And
I definitely can get that.
it also has, its hard mode is still doable. In fact, I got the platinum on both the original PS3 version and the remaster, if I recall correctly, and that includes also beating the game in hard mode. And again, it is doable, but it has specific sections that are specifically designed to be a pain in the ass, for you to complete. So, it has also that kind of level of balance in difficulty that I think it works just right. Like, if you're playing on normal or easy, it would not be that much, easy, but it will not be that much dickish, It will be the right amount. It also helps when compared to a lot of other hack and slash like Devil May Cry and of course Ninja Gaiden, it's more simplified in terms of control scheme. I really hope that rumors about the collection about the Greek sagas are true, because that will be a good excuse to just showcase the game in a more decent kind of fashion. Again, we'll have to see. Alright. Whoa. That ship was, I thought it's being difficult to stay on pose, like.
Hope they don't mind if we commandeer one of their ships to destroy a few.
So we're following the Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga logic. Destroy all the cannons and everything on the ship to take it over.
Basically.
Or force it to run away.
The Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, aka Devil May Cry, but for kids, apparently.
It is more like in appearance of the spectacle, right? But the core gameplay is still the one that Traveler's Tales did for most of the other Lego games. With things, create new things and all. Might have been the reason the game was delayed for a very long time.
Possible. Like, don't get me wrong, the formula for the Lego games has worked for a long run of time, but I can get why someone may have thought it was time for a bit of a change somewhere, since...
I also just wish Traveler's Tales would go back to do their own brand of platformers. Like, we have several IPs that they did for Midway back in the day, like Haven, Call of the King, for example. But ever since they got, pulled to do Lego games, they've done almost nothing else. So...
I forget, did Traveler's Tales recently finally leave the Lego project?
No idea. They're still working for Warner Bros. If I recall correctly, and although they were not affected by the layoffs. I know about that. For now.
According to the Wikipedia page, the last thing they did was in 2022, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Have there been any other... Oh wait, there was
Lego Horizon, but it was handled by a different developer.
So maybe Traveler's Tales are being set free? I mean, okay, now granted, I don't even know if they hated doing the Lego games,
and honestly, they're still good games overall. I just wish they did something in addition to those,
Although, yeah, speaking of Skywalker Saga, there were unfortunately reports of crunch and frustration regarding the Skywalker Saga Lego game, so maybe they're doing some soul searching since that's been their last game, and
Or if we're
it
just
is
laying
now...
low for the sake of avoiding Warner Bros. Laying the hatchet on them like they did, you know, with Avalanche, not Monolith. So
Well, hopefully they still found a way to make money for their employees then, because yeah, it's been about 3 years since their last game.
again, and also there's the fact that you know Warner Bros. Has mentioned very recently, right after the mass layoffs, what their gaming strategy is, and it's just again focusing on 4 IPs and hoping for the best. And spoilers, the Looney Tunes are not even included in that. That's how low they consider them at this point. Like DC and Mortal Kombat makes sense because, again, for all their flaws, NetherRealm's games have managed to bring about money onto the table, so obviously they were not going to be affected by that, you know. Same goes for the Wizard game. I'm not gonna tell exactly what it is, but the rest of you know. And the last one being Game of Thrones, which, yeah, I guess it's because they have a couple of games in development, like the RTS or the proper hack and slash similar, very similar in style to the Middle-earth Shadow duology, you know. So I get the idea we're gonna at least wait and see what happens with that, but I don't know. Considering the series is pretty much the live-action series is dead, and the book doesn't seem to still having to, you know, have arrived at a conclusion, unfortunately. I don't know how much a WB can capitalize on that. Again, Arya's inclusion in Multiverses was actually pretty neat, especially because, you know, they actually had Macy Williams reprise her role instead of actually having, you know, Jennifer Hale voice doubling for her, you know. So that actually was relatively nice, but I don't know how much they can keep up with that. We'll only have to see, I guess.
More gravity shifting perspectives, like
we're actually close to Captain Slag's boss fight. Yeah, because yeah, obviously he's the boss. It's gone.
Again, I do give him credit that I do like how they pull off the gravitational concept without
Those
going
are more similar
too
to how they
with
were
it.
in the original trilogy. You know, we'll say that because Deadlock did not really have that much in terms of platforming, but you know, could also justify the gravity boosts. So.
But yeah, no, like, I mean, yeah, even if it was done in the original trilogy, I do credit them for maintaining that overall, which, okay, to be fair, it's nothing too hard, like, they can technically still have it platform, it's just more of a perspective flip overall, but it is still neat how they do work that stuff in with the gravity boots.
Basically, and that sidestep was there basically to give you a mini victory lap and another titanium bolt, so that was pretty cute. Yeah, let's just start dancing. I love how they still give you the complete, you know, tutorial every single time you do one of these. They're like that afraid, you know, people will not understand the basics of DDR.
I guess to be fair, it's DDR, but with your controller pad instead of your feet.
Ooh.
Which in that case, it's just Simon Says.
Basically. Alright, here we go. Well, we'll say this, despite everything, I can tell from the performance in the dialogue that these two are having fun.
Oh, these guys are more pirates than that Disney Junior show about pirates.
You picked the wrong spot for a fight, me boy. Perhaps a flogging will teach you.
I know I keep bringing it up, but seriously, what's really
That's a
thinking?
good one, Captain. You made a rhyme.
Shut up, Pete.
Aye, Captain, shutting up.
Ready to bilge and step aside. The rats dine on Lombax tonight.
Also pay attention. Yeah, if you actually bother to start the fight, you know, immediately, people will actually call you out on that. Well, sorry, you know, I'm not particularly, you know, cavalier for the occasion, considering the necessity of a moment.
I see you're some of the rare honor-bound pirates at that, too.
And this boss fight is actually particularly fun,
Well,
you know, aside from
What China as a pirate can have anyway.
outside of with some specific attacks, Slag occasionally retreats and has a bunch of minions actually arriving before you proceed to the next phase. So, although the joke he keeps happening of, you know, that he wants Pete to also enter the fray, but he never wants to do it. Not necessarily because he's a coward, but because he's drunk as shit. Which, you know, I can understand.
Must have been cider oil.
Whatever they're calling grog, I guess.
Lads, get in here and cut this rotten creature.
You out of you mangy rascals! Get the cotton!
I mean, to his credit, it's the main protagonist. That's kind of a death sentence.
It'll take more than that to send Slag back to the locker.
Also, giant hammer. Jesus. You can also...
It's like he's got...
I can see what you mean, Joe, about the inspiration from Treasure Planet, because Slag has the cyborg's hip cybernetic arm that can morph into whatever he wants.
Yeah. Definitely major Treasure Planet vibes with these guys. I like to imagine an alternate timeline where Treasure Planet got to be a successful franchise.
For a second there, Joe, for what you were going to say, I wish I was living in an alternate universe where dwarves like Treasure Planets or something.
Well,
I was like, okay, that's a bit... I was going to say, okay, that's a bit specific.
That may arrive as a consequence of that. And yes, the groovy trunk functions also on Captain's Lag.
Nice, show us the dance move.
Which granted, Joe, as the monkey's paw curl, it gets a very shitty direct-to-video sequel.
The end be near. Oh, 'tis beautiful, Pete. A bright light at the end of me dark tunnel. Oh, wenches, as far as the eye can see.
I mean, as far as the afterlife goes, it's not that bad, I guess.
Fare thee well, cruel galaxy. Fare thee
no.
well.
Captain? Captain? No! Why?
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, Ratchet's face says it all.
I suppose now that you're our new captain, you'll be needing one of them gimmicky pirate names. The Dread Pirate Ratchet, perhaps?
Whoa.
Huh.
I'm your new captain?
Aye, 'tis the code, sir.
Just as he always wanted.
What's happening behind?
Ratchet, we cannot allow it to be used even once. It is too dangerous.
I see. No way the Lombaxes could have invented something useful.
It is not logical to use this device, knowing the threat it poses.
What threat? You know, ever since the rocket sled, you've been nothing but a
what
giant
threat?
pain in my... Quark! What are you doing here?
Showing the
Quark,
universe that
this
I'm
is
a
not the
superhero.
time. And I love
I'm
this,
also
you
fighting the
know,
mother of
nobody
all
raises a
webbies.
finger to stop
Mostly
him.
the superhero thing.
Like,
Despite
Dude.
Ratchet telling
I
you
shall
to
now
do to stop
embody
it,
my
nobody
name
does
in the
anything.
annals of galactic history
Ratchet, you've
by
got a
hurling
gun.
this infernal
Use
dragon
it.
You have a
into
good
black
reason to
hole.
do it. It's been a big thing in the past.
Don't
Like,
worry,
and if
Captain.
anything,
That
Ratchet's all
legend
about
was
shooting
to the nearest
Quark.
available planet.
Which planet is that?
The Cragmite home.
I'm sure that's not foreboding at all.
Grog?
Ratchet, I can download the coordinates to the Cragmite homeworld by accessing...
But yeah, no,
Krog's
Ratchet,
comm unit.
you should
Okay,
probably
tell him
capitalize
to
on
meet
the
us
fact
outside
that
the
you are
planet's
now the
stratosphere.
captain of a
Come on,
whole
we need to
robot
get back to
pirate
Ophelia
space
Island.
armada. Just
He really
saying.
doesn't care. This particular...
Also, Clark, I thought you didn't want the Dimensionator to be used, and you're just gonna try to stop Quark from throwing it into a...
Well, Dweebs is Quark. He's not gonna be able to do it. You know,
Not only that,
not reliable.
Not only that, but to his credit, there's no telling what could happen if we just, try to destroy it, since, it is a device capable of transporting people to other dimensions. Who's to say that blowing it up might not cause a dimensional collapse or something?
Anyway, the stuff with the pirates will actually be continued in Quest for Booty, believe it or not, but that's, after the end of this game. So, for the time being, that's what you need to know, that Captain Slag is dead, Rusty Pete moored him for about 5 seconds, and that was it. Stay tuned for more eventually on that front.
But hey, Ratchet's the new captain. Now he shall bravely abandon his new charge.
Yeah, pretty doesn't give a shit. He did mention, I'm just taking the Dimensionator as compensation, that's it.
Is this what Quest for Booty is about? Them saying, have you forgotten you're the captain?
Well, you'll be able to see what happens in that. Again, we're not too far from it either.
I get that for the sake of gameplay, they don't want to give us a whole robot army that can always join us, but then have it be that they at least hold off like some sort of force at the Cragmite homeworld or something as we venture in.
Anyway, speaking of which, that's where we're going next part of the planet Repur, for which houses the ruins of the Cragmite homeworld. So see you for that.
See ya.